Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. If I look a little tired, it's because I had one of those I talked about in my pregnancy video. I woke up at, I think it was like 3 to use the bathroom because I'm pregnant and can't hold it. And then I was just up. And then I had a dream that somebody was breaking into our house and I woke Matt up like yelling, and it was Paul like messing around in his crib. It was a rough morning, so I'm a little tired. I think I'm gonna attempt to have coffee. I did get sick first thing in the morning, but it wasn't a really big deal. I've held down breakfast. I feel fine right now, but I'm very tired. So we'll see how this goes. But it's Friday, which means it's dessert day, and I am making not one, but 2 desserts today. Why am I doing that? Because I'm using produce. So the first thing I want to do is chocolate zucchini cake. I have 2 zucchinis from last week's CSA, it's Community Shared Agriculture Farm Pickup that I did. And I just have 2 little ones. So the recipe I'm using is from allrecipes.com. It looks amazing. I'm gonna have it, and I'm gonna do it in the square pyrex. I think it's 9x9, and this calls for a 9x13. So I'm just gonna have it. And then we're gonna do a cream cheese frosting on top, which is gonna be delicious. Also, I got 3 looking lemons this week from Misfit Produce, and I wanted to make a lemon cake. I originally was gonna make a lemon layer cake because when we went to Maryland, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law got me birthday presents, and they got me these 9-inch round sill pads. I didn't know that sill pad even made rounds till I watched Claire Saffitz. She's originally from Bon Appetit. She started her own YouTube channel. It's called Claire Saffitz Dessert Person because that's the name of her book. I love watching her videos. They're all desserts, which is, I could watch that stuff all day. And she had circle sill pads. I didn't even know these things existed. So thank you to Leslie, Mark, and Nolan for getting me these. And then she said that her mother-in-law started watching my channel, and Miss Mary Jane recommended that I get a cake cutter. I don't know if this is coming up or not. It looks like this, and it's a small one, which is perfect for like little cakes like this. So I was gonna make a lemon layer cake because I made a lemon cake a while ago for one of my friends, and we were just talking about it. I think it came up in my Facebook feed because I made it look like a calculator for one of my friends who is an accountant who was retiring. And it was lemon cake, lemon curd, lemon buttercream, and Matt was saying, because that's what she wanted, and Matt was saying that that was going to be so much lemon and overkill. And then we went to the party and he said that it was so good and he loved it. The only thing is I only got 3 lemons, and the recipe, you need 5 lemons to make lemon curd. So I don't have enough lemons to do the lemon curd, so I'm going to skip it and also do it in the 9 square pan. And I am using my cooking Bible, my Betty Crocker cookbook, and this is what I do. I kind of just use recipes as really just like a guide. That's what I did with the waffles a couple days ago. So my go-to is the Starlight yellow cake. I use this all the time. I modified it a little bit. I need to make a blog post. I don't know if I did a blog post of the recipe that I use, but I don't actually use their recipe. It calls for all butter, and I have the butter with a neutral oil because oil keeps your cake super moist, but butter gives it really good flavor. I don't like to use all butter, and I don't really like to use all oil all the time. And then for the milk, I do half and half with sour cream. I don't like this recipe all sour cream. I've tried it, it's just a little too tangy, and the sour cream also gives it moisture, which is just delicious. So I've perfected this over the decade plus I've had this book. I need to write this down. So I'm using this recipe, and Betty Crocker does not have a lemon cake in here, but they do have a lemon pound cake and a lemon chiffon cake. Both of them call for a tablespoon of lemon zest. So that's what I'm gonna add to my yellow cake to make it lemon. And then there is a recipe in here for lemon frosting. So it's just their vanilla buttercream, and then Betty Crocker will usually have like notes on how you can make it slightly different. So their lemon buttercream is omit the vanilla, substitute lemon juice for the milk, and stir in a half a teaspoon of grated lemon zest. I have 3 meh looking lemons, so I think I should be fine to get away with all of this. Maybe have some lemon for some water. We shall see. So I am making 2 cakes today. That is the game plan. We'll see how this goes. But my game plan is I told Matt, the lemons are gonna go bad, the zucchini are gonna go bad, so I'm gonna make both cakes today. And what I'm gonna do is wrap one in probably just aluminum foil. We won't eat it next week because we'll be at the beach, so the week we come back, I'll have to make myself a note to take it out. I've done this before. I did this with a carrot cake, and I just make sure especially with these cakes, that the top completely is covered with frosting. There's no little air pockets for the cake to poke through, and it turned out fine. It was delicious, and it was nice to pull out a cake, and I don't have to do anything. So I asked Matt which one he wanted, the chocolate cream cheese cake, or do you want the lemon cake today? And he said the lemon. So the lemon's staying out, and the zucchini is hitting the freezer. That is the game plan for today. It is also gorgeous. It's like 75 degrees. I'd love to sneak in a walk. I don't know if that's too advantageous or not. Paul's coming over. You want to say hi? Yeah. You say hi? He has muffin all over his face. Did you have muffin for breakfast? Yeah. He's watching Blippi, so I'm also hoping that Blippi entertains him enough so that I can make these cakes, because sometimes he likes to HELP me, and it just takes a little bit longer, so. Right? Yeah. I have a bunch of toys down on the floor. We'll see if we can entertain him. I'm also going to open the deck door, and then he can go out there and play with his schmubble machines. What? What'd you say? You want some more muffin? Okay. He's eating zucchini muffins that I made many videos ago and just stuck in the freezer. I found those through not being able to cook. We've been eating down in the freezer, and I've been finding things that have been like pushed in the back of the freezer. So it's been a blessing in disguise. But let me flip around and let's do the chocolate zucchini cake first. We'll get that one out of the way, right? Okay, so I have my whole setup here, and I'm gonna start with just my zucchinis. This is actually a really nice recipe because it's a dump and go. So this is my OXO grater, and it has like a slicer. My mom got me this for Christmas a few years ago. I really like it. I'm actually starting to kind of break the blades a little bit. Like the grater one I use all the time is cracked. I don't know if you can see that, but it's quite handy. So I'm just going to lop the tops off. That will go in my compost, and I'm just going to grate these up. Okay, so that's done. I'm just going to put that to the side. So I'm just going to use this bowl here. Mosley is on standby in case I drop anything. We have 1 cup of all-purpose flour. This also calls for 1 cup of sugar. So that's equal sugar to flour. That is a lot of sugar. I'm not going to mess with this recipe the first time, but after I make this, and if it's good, I would try to experiment with things like applesauce or just reducing it ever so slightly, maybe like 1/3, 3/4 of a cup, and see what happens, because that's a lot, but that's okay. We're going to keep it. I am going to sift the rest of my ingredients. So it's cocoa powder and the leaveners and whatnot. My leaveners are always so clumpy. So cocoa, so this is 1/2 cup, 1, 2. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, baking soda, salt, and cinnamon. I never really measure cinnamon, I just kind of go for it. Okay, so that's the rest of my dry, so I'm just going to sift this. It's mostly the cocoa in there that clumps. So get all this out. And then I'm just going to whisk these together till they're combined. Then I need 2 eggs, and we get farm eggs from hens, and they're all different sizes. I always try to use the biggest ones when I bake. I got that from Ina Garden. The smaller eggs I leave for like omelets and stuff. And then some neutral oil. I'm just using veggie oil. Sometimes I use avocado oil. That would be lovely too. And then it said to just mix this first. I might have to kill the whisk here. I'm gonna go for my rubber spatula to finish this. And this is actually pretty mixed enough. I'm gonna add in my zucchini. The recipe also calls for mixed nuts. I'm omitting that because we're gonna do the frosting, and sadly Matt doesn't like nuts in his cake. I think that would be lovely. It says walnuts. I feel like pecans would be good too. So here's all that zucchini. Put that in. And you could leave the frosting off completely and just make this like a snack cake. If I were doing that, I feel like mini chocolate chips would be really good in here too. Maybe just sprinkled on top, or some like, what's that stuff called? the bigger granule sugar, if you put that on top, that would be good too. So let me just mix this in. It's my oven saying it's done. Perfect timing. It makes me really sad that I'm not going to be able to try this because this is the one Matt opted to freeze. But when I do bring it out of the freezer, I'll make sure to record a video. I have made these before and no, it does not taste like zucchini. It just adds moisture, the same thing like if you did apples or carrots, things like that. Guys, get in there. So over the garbage, I'm just gonna give this guy a good spray with some, avocado oil. Okay, so I have the camera set up backwards for me. I'm a right-handed person. Let me try to do this backwards. Get this in here. Looks like a really good fudgy brownie. Let me just spread this out a little bit. Paul's coming to say hi. Hey, buddy. What you got? Oh. Ooh, you okay? Yeah, Tom. Hey. Okay, so this is all ready to go in the oven. The recipe does say 50 to 60 minutes, but that's for a 9 by 13. I think I'm going to check this in probably about 40 minutes. So I will note down in the description box how long it takes if you have this recipe and do the 9-inch square. So let me get, I'm going to entertain him for a little bit because, well, let me clear the decks. I'm going to get this all cleaned up and then we'll be back to make the lemon cake. Okay, so the chocolate zucchini cake is right there. I just took it out of the oven. It did take like a solid 35 minutes. So I wrote in my recipe to check it after 30 minutes. It didn't overcook, but it was definitely done when I checked it at 35 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the lemon cake going. It's almost lunchtime, so I'm hoping that I can get this in and out of the oven before it's nap time. And then we'll use the oven to heat up something for lunch. So I have 3 lemons here. The only thing I'm doing is I'm making my yellow cake and I'm adding a tablespoon, would be for a full, so I'm probably gonna do a heaping half tablespoon of lemon zest. So I'm gonna go ahead and just zest all 3 of these and then pop the rest in the fridge for the frosting later. I don't need the lemon juice for the cake just yet, so I'm going to zest them, pop them in the fridge, and then my yellow cake is kind of really a dump cake too. I put everything in one bowl and then mix it with the mixer on for like 2 or 3 minutes, I can't remember, on like the highest speed that my little hand mixer goes, and it works out perfect every single time. So there's no creaming, no adding wet then dry. It's easy. So let's get started. So I don't want to lose any essential oils, so I'm going to attempt to grate everything right here in the bowl that I'm using, and then I'll just pull out what I'm not. So I'm using a microplane. You could use the small end of the small grate of a box grater too. And I'm just going to grate all these 3 lemons here. Okay, so I think that's all I'm getting from those 3 lemons. I'm just gonna half this and put it in a little container and stick that in the fridge, and then we'll use that for the frosting later. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm using the Betty Crocker Starlight Yellow Cake. This is for a 9 by 13, recipe serves 12. I'm having everything so I can do it by 9 by 9. I think I'm gonna just do a blog post because I make this so often. It's more for myself so I don't have to do this math every single time. So I'm having everything. The only problem with this is it's 3 eggs. So I just took 2 kind of smaller eggs, or just 2 eggs. You could take 1 egg, scramble it, and then try to use half of that if you want to. But I think it will be fine. If anything, it's just gonna make it a little bit lighter. We're gonna experiment and see how this is. So like I said, I'll leave all the quantities for this in probably a blog post below. And I'm just using the same measuring cups from the chocolate cake, so there might be like a little bit of cocoa in some things. It's fine. It's not enough where it's going to impact it. So that was all-purpose flour. And this is white sugar. So like I said before, I'm splitting the fat in the original recipe. So this is 2 tablespoons of butter, unsalted, and then I'm doing 2 tablespoons of a neutral oil. I'm just using this avocado oil versus the vegetable oil I had out earlier just because this little container is just easier to pour a tablespoon than that big jug was. So this is milk and sour cream in here. I don't actually have cow milk, so this is almond milk. I usually use whole cow milk, but I don't have that. So now I'm just going to sift my leaveners, because like I said, they're clumpy. So that's baking powder, salt. Just sift those really fast. Perfect. So I'm omitting the vanilla in the original recipe because we have that lemon zest in the bottom. And then here's my eggs. Okay, and that's it. So I'm going to plug in my electric mixer, mix this on low for 30 seconds just to kind of get everything incorporated. Then I'm going to jack it as high as my mixer goes, and I'm going to do it for 3 minutes. So that was 3 minutes. So now I'm just going to get my 9-inch glass pan and also spray it with the same avocado oil spray. It does have a very subtle lemon scent to it, which is lovely. I almost wish I added more, but I only had those 3 lemons. I'm sure you could do something like lemon extract. I don't have any. And plus I kind of like the idea of just using lemons, fresh lemons, I mean. Okay, so that's it. So the recipe says for a 9x13, 35 to 40 minutes. I'm gonna check this guy at 25 minutes. And then I will pull it out, check it with the toothpick, let you know how long this particular 9x9 takes, and then we'll frost both these guys. So many hours later, I did have the lemon cake in there for 25 minutes, and admittedly, my stomach was really kind of bothering me. I needed to eat something, so I kind of rushed it. I did the toothpick test. It looked okay, it took it out, but I don't know if you can pick this up. See how it sunk a little bit in the middle? So it just needed probably about like 5 more minutes and it would have been fine. If I was doing this for a friend's cake, I absolutely would remake this, but I don't care. I don't care. I actually don't mind undercooked things. I know it's gross. So the outside pieces will be totally fine, and I'll eat the middle if nobody else wants it. So this one's good. This one's gonna get some lemon buttercream. We're gonna do that in a second. And then here's my chocolate zucchini cake. This looks gorgeous. This would be just fine like this. You don't have to do anything else to it if you don't want to. Like I said before, some toppings that would be nice would be, what is it called? It's a Demerara sugar. I'm probably saying that wrong, but if you did like sugar on top would be nice, or chocolate chips inside, or nuts would be nice. You don't have to do frosting on this at all, but I saw on the allrecipes.com has a YouTube channel, and the chef made this and did the cream cheese frosting on top, and it looked really good. So that's what we're gonna do. So I think, I don't want to dirty 2 bowls, so I'm going to use the same bowl and the same beaters. I think I'm going to do the cream cheese frosting first, get that on that cake, and then I'm going to clean out the bowl a little bit, and then just make the lemon buttercream in the same bowl, put that on the lemon cake. For the zucchini cake, I'm going to put the cover on, put it in the fridge till it's cold, and then I'm going to wrap it and freeze it. So I will cut and taste test this in another video, frozen and thawed. Like I said, I have done this before. It works out really well. And the lemon cake we are gonna have after dinner, so I will tell you how that is. As for dinner, I think we're just doing leftovers, nothing super exciting. But anyway, Matt's upstairs, he's home, he's getting changed. Paul is watching Blippi again, so let me get these frostings going while I have a second. So the only change I'm making to this recipe is it calls for whole milk. I don't have any, I mentioned that before. I just have this half and half hanging out. There's just a little bit left in here. So I'm gonna use this instead of milk, but that's the only change I'm making. cream cheese frosting is done. I kind of just eyeball it, as you can see. You know, you can get whatever kind of texture you want. So I just kind of eyeball the sugar. I wasn't really obsessively measuring. So I'm just gonna dump this on here. This is the one that's going in the freezer. So I'm really gonna make sure that I get the frosting to all the sides. And actually what I like to use to spread frosting is just a spoon, a regular old spoon. The back of it works really, really well if you don't have an offset spatula. And this is just the spoon that I use for the vanilla extract. So like I said, I'm just gonna reuse this same bowl for my lemon in a second. And just use my spoon to really kind of get this all over the place. So I hope the camera can get this, but like I was saying, I really made sure the frosting went all the way around and touched the Pyrex everywhere. Basically, I'm trying to make an airtight seal. This one, I'm just gonna put the Pyrex lid on it, stick it in the fridge, and then tomorrow I'm gonna wrap it in foil and stick it in the freezer. I'm not gonna worry about foil and plastic wrap because I really think this is only gonna be in there for a couple weeks. If it was gonna be in there longer, I'd do foil and plastic wrap. So that's what I'm gonna do for the chocolate zucchini. So let me get this out of the way and then we'll do the lemon buttercream. Okay, so for the lemon, again, I'm having the recipe because it's a smaller cake. I have my lemon zest from earlier right here that it's gonna go in, and it's probably gonna be a tablespoon of lemon juice. So I think I'm just gonna use this small guy here. I'm not even gonna measure it. I'm just gonna squeeze them right into the bowl. And then these are not going to waste. I'm gonna slice these up, freeze them, and then I put them in my water. So I halved the recipe and I already know that's not enough frosting. So I'm actually gonna add more butter, more sugar, and more lemon juice and essentially make a full batch of buttercream for this cake. Dinner is over. It's only 7:15. Matt is upstairs trying to put the little monkey to bed. I don't have too many dishes to clean because we just had leftover tacos. My kind of night. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut into this lemon cake and we'll see how it tastes. So I like to cut mine into 9 squares anytime I make a 9 by 9. They are kind of big pieces, but as you can see, I am horrible at cutting even slices. So I usually have small and big slices. So you can pick whatever mood you're in. I'm feeling this one. So I don't want to eat too much because Matt's still upstairs and I promised I'd eat with him, but I figured I'd try it. As you can see, I tried to get a shot of me going through it with a fork. It's very moist. This is like my favorite go-to cake. It works so well in cakes, cupcakes, layer cakes, all that good stuff. It's very moist, if you like that word. And it's lightly lemon. Because I didn't use the lemon extract, there's no like artificial lemon like sometimes reminds me of like lemon heads, like the candy. It's not like that at all. It's very subtle. It's very light. I like it a lot. It would be good with that lemon curd I was telling you about. That would make it just even more over the top lemon, but I didn't do it this time. Maybe another time I'll do a layer cake with that. That would be really good. But this is nice and light, kind of summery for a cake. So I'm not gonna eat anymore. I'll wait till Matt comes. Well, thank you so much for spending the day baking with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Bye.